Good morning. Thank you everyone for being here today for this exciting faculty panel event on virtual reality and education. My name is Matt LeBrake. I'm the Senior Director for Online Library and Technology Services here at Berkeley College. This event is brought to you by the Online Book Club. Each term we choose a new book and host a virtual discussion. And in addition, we try to supplement our discussions with events like this one. This semester, we read Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Among the many themes explored early in the story is education, describing a teenage boy taking classes in a rich virtual reality world called the Oasis. In the Oasis, a typical class could be anything from traveling to the pyramids in Egypt to journeying through the human heart through the use of virtual reality. So while virtual reality is portrayed as science fiction in the story, here at Berkeley College, we think this setting serves to paint a picture of how higher education could actually look like in the not too distant future. Virtual reality is a very real technology that allows complete immersion in a 360 experience or computer-generated environment through the use of a headset, like this one, which is a piece of cardboard, or this one, or many others that also allow us to do this kind of thing. So much of the virtual reality content currently available to us is in the form of 360 videos. For example, our nursing students can put on one of these headsets and be immersed from the perspective of a doctor performing surgery on a patient. As this technology continues to advance, we're going to see these static video experiences becoming more and more interactive. So taking that same surgery example, we will see that turn into a simulation experience that's in development that will enable students to move around and use hand controllers to interact with the virtual reality environment, being able to interact with other medical care providers, choose which kind of medicine to give that patient, choose where to insert that knife in a surgery simulation. So these experiences are getting richer and richer. Over the last couple of years here at Berkeley College, we've been experimenting with virtual reality in the classroom across a variety of disciplines. And today we have gathered a panel of faculty and staff who have been involved with these efforts to discuss how VR technology is being used to enhance teaching and learning in their classes, and their thoughts on the future of education as this technology gets more mainstream. So at this time, I'm going to ask our panel to introduce themselves and to provide an overview of their experiences with using virtual reality in regards to teaching and learning.
Good morning. Is that loud enough? Yep. Good morning, everybody. I'm Professor James Pacello, and I teach for the College Skills program here at Berkeley College. I teach the Foundations of Critical Reading and Foundations of Critical Writing courses. And I have been exploring the uses of virtual reality for the last 3 semesters. This is the 3rd semester in a row in which I have experimented, including in my current group of students who are here today. And thank you for supporting me today and being here to my students. So the way I've implemented virtual reality over the last 3 semesters is that I have essentially turned the class into kind of a research team. Right? We simulate as if we're part of a research team tasked with exploring the emerging uses of virtual reality. So we read a few articles and we look at a slideshow from Entrepreneur magazine about the various uses of this technology in different unexpected areas, including in the treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder and training of Walmart employees, simulating the busy holiday season. So basically, I asked students to have several virtual reality experiences in my class. They examined 360-degree videos through the Google Cardboard devices. And ultimately, they have to recommend one virtual reality experience to others, including in a written form, an essay fully developed where they have to back up their points with support and examples from the virtual reality experience. And I think it really helps them to think critically and carefully about this emerging technology. So that's where I've been with this at this stage of the implementation of virtual reality. So it really helps them to think critically and then write about it. And part of my goal is to help them improve their writing process in the context of my classes. And this is a really nice way of engaging them in a kind of a unique way and a unique format.
Hi everyone. So my name is Valbona. My last name is hard to kind of pronounce, so my student knows me as Dr. G, so I keep it simple. So when I got to know the virtual reality, the first time I introduced to that was in one of the TLC training that we professors also do and train to keep ourselves developed professionally. So what caught my attention was that it's not only we are using technologies, most of you know right now, so to learn, but there was the most important word to me was engage. So there were two things, learning and engaging. So for us, it's a little bit very challenging, I mean, to keep students engaged in the class. And I empathize with all of you, so being there over 60 minutes, so to get your attention, it's a little bit hard. So, and I like this word of engaging, and then I signed up my name to participate in this experimental group of work, and then we started to implement in the class with our students. I've done this 2 semesters in a row, but the most exciting was the first time I implemented that, because the second semester, so some of my students were their students, and they started, oh yeah, we know, we did that. It's not something new anymore. It was challenging for 2 things. So first of all, it was the first time that students most of them didn't know about the virtual reality, and we use the cardboards in the class, and so you have to be careful the way you use it and all that. And the second is, but it's that I kind of feel proud and very confident, because to me it's like a win, was a little bit of fight between 2 technologies. So technology for keeping you engaged, and the technology that keeps you busy, like social media from your phone. So when we use virtual reality, so you need to use your phone. So you cannot check your text messages and, the social media. So phone is busy. So I had full attention, and I said, yes, I won. Because this is what I wanted to do with this. But beside that, so kind of technical things, what I choose for my students, I teach international business, and we talk a lot about the political system. And one of them is communism. Some of you just heard you do not never grow up or live that kind of system, live alone, so to travel in a communist country. So my contact was a trip to North Korea, and was a trip there when they were having some military celebration for their working party, and students by the virtual reality. So you even forget, the area where you are, and you are not only engaged mentally, but even physically, because you have to move around to see. So you do not think about what's going on in Facebook and I don't know, messages, because they're totally engaged there. My student had a great experience. They virtually entered to North Korea, and we're seeing the dictator, for real. It was just right here, the military. And we had a short 5 questions to answer, and it was an individual assignment. Everybody was very well engaged and doing what answer to. I get all my papers submit. It's not like other assignments. Oh, professor, can I do this from home, or can I submit this tomorrow, next time? It was right away. So everything worked perfectly. And by the end of the semester, after we implemented the VR in classroom, so the assignment my students, they have to present a country. So talk about the international business in that country. And one of my students, so he got so inspired, and he started representing North Korea, which also became very fun and very interesting. A lot of us, so we do not know about that. And who thinks to go down there and start searching for North Korea, right? So he did that, and was really a great experience.
Thank you. Okay, good morning. I'm Dr. Rahman, and I teaches clinical and administrative part into the health services, and long time with the Berkeley College. My experience with the virtual reality is great and fascinating. What I did, I was a part of the same group. What I did that first I start to introduce my student about the virtual reality. I know some of them know a lot, but some of them do not have much idea about what the virtual reality is. So what I prepare them, I tell them what's virtual reality and how we're going to utilize in our class. So around week number 6 and 7, then I give them topic. I say, okay, go through this topic. When you're gonna come back, I'm gonna explain to you this topic. Once I explain this topic, I give them a student about 6-7 minute video, which is a 360 video, and we give them a Google Cardboard. They use their phone, and I ask them to watch the whole video. So they watch the whole video. Before they watch the video, I did an experiment. I give them about 10 different questions, which is related to this topic. And after watching the video, I gave them same 10 questions that would make difference between to see something virtually. So what I found out that some of these questions, which is out of 10, I see like a 30% improvement. Some question I see like a 40% improvement. Some question I think about like 60% improvement. When I calculate it all together, it's around like a 40% improvement into my results. So virtual reality is not only what we can think about that, it mean you can be there where you want to see that. In my class, what was the topic I was go through that? It was, I choose the topic, the respiration and a circulation into the heart. So if you enter in human body, how the gases exchange take place through the lung and the blood vessel, and how the blood enter into the heart and how the blood leave the heart. And this is, if you explain without showing this 3D or VR video, it's just kind of an imagination. I will say that it's just anything fiction or anything is just a theory, you can bring it into reality. If you know and more good you have operators, I will say that if you got like a too long videos in the beginning, do not try to that. Try to make like a 5, 6, 7 minutes videos, because then initially it's gonna hard for a student to go with these things. So that was an amazing experience I have with my student, and I'm applying with these things, and I see more improvement every day.
Thank you. Panelists, try to do your best, please, to speak right into the mic so our virtual audience can hear. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Darshan Desai. I'm professor in management department. I teach management, international business, international finance, and data analysis courses. So just like everyone else, I tried virtual reality for the first time in winter. So my experience was when Matthew first time introduced us all to the virtual reality device. As Kalpana mentioned, the best thing that attracted me, I saw it as an opportunity to engage everyone in my class. And one thing I always believe that when it comes to engagement, education systems, we need to learn a lot from games and video games. And what they are doing is amazing thing and motivating and engaging players. And if we can bring the same level of engagement and same level of motivation and same ideologies into learning good things, it can create miracles. So with this belief, I tried to gamify one of my course, International Business. So when I got introduced to virtual reality, first my idea is to use this in my international business class. But then I came to know that international business class was not the class that I'm teaching in winter, and we were doing this pilot in winter. So I asked Matthew, can I design something that I can teach the next semester, not in winter? And Matthew gave me the same answer, that the kind of answer I give to my students. So I'm always saying yes, I never say no. I said, he said, absolutely, but try your best to do this semester. I was like, okay, I will. So I was thinking, like, how can I use virtual reality in international? I was teaching 2 on-site classes because that's where I wanted to start. I was teaching 2 on-site classes. One class was data analysis and decision making, where I was doing already 3 new things. So I did not want to add a 4th new thing. It was a service learning course, this was a new course and a new software. I was like, if I will add 4th new things, my student might be super confused. So I had only one option left, international finance. And I was keep thinking, like, international finance, virtual reality, how will I find this match? The interesting thing happened accidentally. I was trying to do some research on cryptocurrency and virtual currencies. But as the conversation with Matthew was in my mind, by mistake, in Google, I typed virtual reality currency. And then I found something which was fascinating. The platform that enable the virtual currency, like Bitcoin, it's a blockchain. And what I found was you can visit blockchain. You can go inside the blockchain and see how it functions yourself. So blockchain is a concept, like as Asim mentioned, it is a very theoretical concept. If I read you what is blockchain, the technical definition, I promise you all will go to sleep. I'm not going to do that. So I thought this is an excellent opportunity that if instead of saying them, what if I take them in the field trip inside the blockchain? So we were doing this class project. My class was amazing. Like we are a group, very small group of students, all 400 level students, and all were explorers and people who loved adventures. So we all were working on a project to see the implications of blockchain on international finance and different industries. So that way, this became a very amazing experience. As I mentioned, I also found like I did the test with two different learning outcomes, one without VR and one with VR, and I tested the student learning. And I also did this with the student debates. The interesting thing that I found, after use of VR, the students started using such a big words, like in the discussion normally they talk the normal words. But after watching VR and being inside of VR, and they're talking about fungibility, and this is the biggest benefit, I was like, what is going on here? Like, this the miracle happened? Like, how are you talking this all interesting thing in the class? But the miraculous thing is, once something extremely theoretical, when you feel it firsthand, you completely think it differently. And then knowledge retention, like, you cannot forget. One of the students said, this is experience. I'm not going to forget it my whole life, because it was more like a social experience than a technological experience for them.
I was going to say, this is
No, it's on. But you have to talk like direct.
It's going to our virtual audience, Silesia.
Oh, this is interesting.
You just had to get to talk directly into it.
Test. That.
Silesia, it's for our virtual audience, not for the room.
It is only for the virtual.
Oh, well, I'm loud, so it doesn't matter. Picture a little case here. Good morning, everyone. Is that loud enough? How about that? Because I can get loud. My students know I'm very loud. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Silesia Thompson. I am a professor in the School of Business, Management Department, and what do I teach? Management stuff. And business as well. So, well, like sales and customer service, entrepreneurship, business policy and strategy, principles of management, business, all of those classes. So, my experience was a little different because the semester we did it, what was it, winter? So the courses I had were like the intro business, sales and customer service, and I don't remember, but it was those kind of courses. So I was like trying to just rack my brain on how would I implement virtual reality. My goal was to focus in 5 areas. So I really wanted to educate, engage, empower, enlighten, and entertain. So that's a big goal to try to, because you guys you guys are a hard group to try to please. So, but I was able to find 360 videos and videos that I think accomplished all 5 things. What I did was I did more group stuff. So I put my classes in groups, and I had them watch content that was focused on like marketing. We also did some sports stuff, and what else did we do? Things around cultural diversity. So from a leadership standpoint, I took my class into a locker room where the coach is talking to the players like halftime and just inspiring them. And I thought that was cool. I also did the what was the one thing I did? Oh, the little taxi cab. That was my favorite. Just the little things that get me excited. So there's this guy in New York apparently that has a taxi cab, and it's like all like pimped out. It's like iced out, and he throws like parties in the taxi cab. Nobody has seen that? Just me. So how did I find that? Okay, that's weird, but okay, great. So when you get in his ride, it's like he's got like a mix table. It's like lit, like turning up in the taxi cab. And so the discussion was around, is this customer driven marketing? Is he trying to appeal to people by making the atmosphere so enticing that people want to drive, want to take his taxi? And so, I mean, the discussions, it was so like, it was fun for me to watch, but people really in the groups really got into it because half the class was like, this is the dumbest idea in history. He'll never survive. Uber is alive. He's getting killed. Like, it was like one half was like, this is dumb. And then the other half was like, this is amazing. So I really wanted to challenge students to do this in groups because you saw the disagreements, but you also saw how people were thinking it through. And so for me, that was what I really wanted to do it in groups. And then, of course, there were questions and like Q&A. So I think for me, that was important. Also, going into locker rooms and infusing sports, where you see coaches talking about leadership and perseverance and resilience and how to bounce back if you're down by 30 at halftime. And just going in those locker rooms, people don't tie that. They don't tie that to leadership and management, but you can talk decision making. You could talk leadership styles. You can talk transformational versus transactional leadership styles. And so that's what I tried to do, find like real world things that would spark conversation. So I thought it was a great, way to engage, but also to educate people and get discussion going. So that was my approach. I'm going to try it again this semester in White Plains. I'm in White Plains, and then I'll probably try it again in winter when I get back here in Midtown, because I do think students really, really enjoy it. And if you find the right videos, like, I had like concerts. I took them into concerts to see behind the scenes, the concert prep and on stage and all of that. So I think if you find the right videos, it works. It really is about the video. So I had a great time.
Hello guys, my name is actually Hansel Escorcia. I am a recent graduate from Berkeley College. I actually graduated this summer in 2017. However, I also do work with Berkeley nowadays, so I actually started off my career here in IT. I was part of help desk, and as a result, I kind of got in like one of the early adopters for the whole VR program here. So I was pretty much working with a lot of troubleshooting with Matt back and forth, and we ended up creating this program for the graphic design students, and it was called the GRD Collective. Our first objective was to pretty much create content in virtual reality, since, I had the perspective of a student as well as of a staff member, so not an instructor. So my goal isn't necessarily how to educate with it, but more so how to create something that brings students in. Because in a lot of times, in classrooms, for example, at least because you guys are all on-site students, you have the benefit of being able to walk into your classroom, seeing your instructor in the face, saying hello, and then actually listening to your lecture in person, whereas online students, everything is pretty much either web-based, all walls of text. You don't really see your instructor face-to-face. So from my perspective, I see the power of virtual reality in that case. I also do work with the online faculty support team, so essentially my job is to create content for all online students as well as other faculty members. But kind of like what they're talking about with the whole virtual reality, since I actually do specialize in video production, the entire, I guess you can call it, potential that virtual reality has is pretty much limitless. We sit here, we always thinking about how do things look like, for example, in health, how does the human body look like inside of it? There's really no way to find out until you actually are doing surgery on somebody, but what if there was a way to do that safely, either through programs? And that's kind of what my job is, to figure out how do I create those programs for people, so that way we can actually learn and experience that are usually supposed to be exclusive, but now it's open to the public. And the way that I see virtual reality is it's the way of the future, and it's also the way to make knowledge more accessible to the general masses. But yeah, I've been playing with virtual reality for probably about 2 years now, and I can say that the way technology grows, it kind of grows exponentially, and it's getting a lot better, faster, kind of crazily. Because I remember when it first started, it was very basic stuff, and now we're getting these really, really intense geometric, three-dimensional designs and landscapes, and just the coolest programs out there. And I hope you guys actually also look into that as well.
Thank you, Hansel. So actually, that's a great segue into our next question. So we're basically just scratching the surface, as Hansel said, of what's possible using VR technology. As the headsets become better and more affordable, content providers are focusing on developing new educational experiences that align with course learning outcomes. So additionally, this hardware is getting better and better that's going to allow us to start experimenting with more interactive computer-generated content, environments, and simulations. So I would ask the panel, what are your thoughts on the future of VR technology? What kind of simulations do you think will soon be available in your discipline that will allow you to take the learning experience to the next level in your classes?
Well, in my classes, they're essentially interdisciplinary in the sense that I am preparing students to write widely across the curriculum. So students are getting ready to write. We practice the writing process in my classes so that students can then transfer that into the rest of their education. And that's the way I pitch my courses to students. And so the VR experience, the VR video experiences essentially are cross-disciplinary, the ones that I introduced them to. So I see multiple ways that this could be, go in the future. For instance, one of the ideas that we explore, the themes that we explore about virtual reality is the notion of, can it help cultivate empathy in the viewer? There is a lot of research recently on this. The idea of, because of the way that you put yourself in somebody else's shoes, you put yourself in somebody else's perspective, there is some research talking about whether or not that might help increase empathy in the viewer. And there's also that immersive quality, the movement involved. And one way that I see this going in the future is a lot of the research on this topic is coming from the Stanford University Virtual Human Interaction Lab. And essentially, one of the things that they have been discussing and exploring is a virtual reality experience that puts the viewer in the perspective of a homeless person. And you get to experience the world from that person's point of view. And again, that's a big part of the empathy component, the empathy research on this topic. What is life like for somebody that lives homeless, that is a homeless person, and the experience? So ultimately, cultivating empathy, I think, is a really rich area for the future. And empathy is a big part of emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is part of the curriculum here. Some courses analyze the use of emotional intelligence in different contexts, including in business settings and professional settings. So I think that's a really rich area to explore in the future, the idea of empathy, the cultivation of empathy through VR uses.
So, well, we are living in later. So now we are living in
Mic closer, please.
Oops, the businesses. So we are living in a world that it's technology-driven world, and in perspective. So to the class I do, international business. We have a lot of diversity involved. So you see here, every kind of organization they actually encourage the diversity, but we can achieve this. VR so allow these things to happen because we want our students to mix their to mix their minds with more intelligent or diverse or different kind of intelligent and creative other minds. So to better reach the goals and whatever the company has for the businesses. And we are preparing the future workforce. So this is also important. So think about yourself. So you are sitting here in a chair, you are alone, and in a minute, so your colleagues, so they log in from different, and the chairs feels kind of virtually. So you have your colleagues, and doesn't matter where they are and where they live. All right. So and it's going to be very helpful based of the diversity, encouraging it, and get the most of it. So it's going to help to boost the creativity and also the creativity, and also it's the environment to do that. It's virtual is the best thing to boost.
Thank you. The virtual reality, especially I will say from my perspective in the healthcare discipline, especially in our medical and our healthcare, is a really growing lot, especially I will say the two areas in education, entertainment and the medical and health. They are the two bigger areas where the VR is utilizing. Like James mentioned, is about the Stanford University of our their medical school. They are start training their doctors on a simulated, on a VR technology. And Cambridge University is also using the VR as a technology for their student. So this is like a really, and we also have a student now, which is not like 15, 20 years ago, what you tell, they believe it. Now they want to, what you say that, either you prove it or either show them. So this is one of the growing technology, and was reading the article, is they're investing now about the billions of dollars to do this technology more effective. And in the medical, they also try to use the virtual technology for the treatment of phobias. So they are trying to utilizing this technology more and more. So this is the way, like everything going into right direction for the virtual reality.
So I think in the field of business, I can see this coming from 4 different areas that is emerging in future. So one area that I see it's emerging in future is there are certain skills that can be developed more into virtual reality environment than the traditional classroom. So many of the educational institutions will leverage VR for skill building. The second area where more futuristic application is coming up is not only VR, but as I mentioned, mental health, anxiety, stress, all these things are somehow increasing in the world of business executive, business school. Everyone is stressed, everyone has some anxiety, some fear. And in the middle of this environment, having the right attitude, cultivating the right approach towards life is another thing that can be VR can be used for that. The third aspect where I see VR is used is to expose students. It's exposure, field trip. For example, I use one of the videos of space travel in my class, like what SpaceX is doing and how they are revolutionary. I think Mr. Paul Gaffano was here to introduce this video to my class, and it was such an amazing experience. So this is like exposure part where you give your students I told students like we are going into factory in China tomorrow, and they're like, what? In virtual reality. So this is the exposure part which is happening now, but this will increase in future. And the fourth, which is very important, is the simulations, where the STEM labs and more simulations will be coming up. So if you see the simulation and STEM lab, this is getting serious and this is coming mainstream. There is one company called Labster. It's a company from Denmark. They are partnering with Google, and they have created so many simulations for online students where biology and there are certain subjects, like there are many students in the world they did not get opportunity to do this lab because the school system did not had resources to invest in the lab. I come from some of the school system where we did not have labs. I never experienced certain things. But now, as you mentioned, rightly mentioned, the beauty of VR is these experiences will be accessible to so many people all across the world who are not having the experiential experience of dissecting something or seeing heart transplantation surgery and trying it themselves without killing anyone, right? So these are the stuff which is up and coming and emerging. And Ameritrade is partnering with Oculus Rift, Facebook. They are developing a lot of simulations in the field of finance. So I think when the big companies are investing in this is coming mainstream pretty fast.
I agree with Darshan on all of those. I would add two more from a business standpoint and a management standpoint. I'd like to see in the future more content that is focused on women in leadership and developing and empowering more women. I think we could benefit with more content around like simulations following, a day in the life of Indra Nooyi, the PepsiCo CEO, well, former. She stepped down, was it last night? I know, sad. And then maybe like following Kamala Harris, senator out of California. We've seen a shift, right? More women are being elected to Congress. And so more women are becoming CEOs and leaders. I would like to see more content on that. And then my passion, entrepreneurship. I think we could develop more of our students or have them take that entrepreneurial path by even, some in-depth simulations around how to start a business, startup maybe, and maybe following an Elon Musk, which would probably be real exciting to follow him and SpaceX and how he kind of spearheaded that. So I'd like to see more women leader, simulations, 360 videos, Q&As, and more content focused on entrepreneurship. And I think the way the U.S., and from a global standpoint too, the way it's shifting and changing, I think we will see more VR content around women empower, women leaders, and entrepreneurship. It's a must. I'm just saying. So,
And from my perspective, since as I mentioned, I have kind of two different avenues for what my actual, I guess you could say, career is. I have two things I'm going to focus on. One being entertainment, because I really did start in entertainment. I'm still in entertainment, but also education. So in the field of entertainment, for example, if you really think about what virtual reality is, it's pretty much, you're going to hear the word, we're probably going to say it multiple times, but it's called immersion. Immersion is pretty much that moment when you kind of forget that you're looking at, I guess, media, and you kind of are in it. So it's more believable, and you become like just really mentally one with what you're observing. So for example, in cases with these virtual reality videos where you're underwater and you're looking at sea life, although yes, you obviously know you're not underwater because you're breathing perfectly fine, it's still like your mind believes that you're there, everything looks lifelike to an extent, and then you get comfortable, and then you're more in the mentality of what you're learning. So with education, the way that I see things is that imagine the stories that we can tell moving forward. Right now, you go to the movies, you're going to watch a movie, and you'll probably talk about it for a couple weeks, and it's a really great movie. But now imagine if you're inside the movie. And that technology actually already exists, and it's kind of still working on it because it's a bit rough in some cases. But just the ability to be able to tell stories from your own perspective when you weren't even there, and then you observe everything, it's a bit more, you remember it better. It kind of gets rooted in your mind a bit more. It's more enjoyable. Now, translating that into education, if you're in a lesson, you're learning something, yeah, you can be sitting in a chair and just, hearing someone talk about it or just watching a regular video. But what if we put you inside the video? Now this content just subconsciously and psychologically just gets absorbed better. So the way that I see it playing in education is more so just as the technology develops more and becomes more commonplace and more kind of like in our own hands more efficiently, it opens up an avenue for something I like to call accidental learning, which is where you kind of you're being entertained by a video or some kind of content, but it's educational content, so you do take stuff from it. As she mentioned before, she was showing a video about financial videos in a 360 environment, and her students were starting to use big vocabulary words that she wasn't expecting, and that's kind of what accidental learning is. They were having fun, and subconsciously they pick stuff up, and now they're using it in application. So, yeah, that kind of sums it up. Essentially, technology is going to get better, and it's become more immersive, and it can be used in a bunch of ways, both things like education, medical, business, or just even traveling for people who can't travel as readily, right? But in my field specifically, because that's really what I specialize in, so anything else I say is kind of reaching, I see its potential in telling the best stories, as well as just giving the best possible routes for just actual engagement between students and instructors.
All right. So at Berkeley, our goal is not only to educate you, but it's preparing you for lifelong success in careers. So virtual reality is already being used across a variety of industries outside of what we've already spoken about, including architecture, fashion, military, journalism, real estate, and engineering. In fact, just last year, Walmart purchased 17,000 high-end virtual reality headsets and trained over 200,000 employees in preparation for Black Friday using virtual reality. They put them in the perspective of one of these madness, a Walmart in New York where there's thousands of people busting down that door at midnight, and they're actually preparing them for that kind of environment. And they say that they're going to train 1 million more employees over the next year using this technology. So how do you panelists see that this technology is preparing our students for lifelong success in dynamic careers? And I ask you to please keep your responses to a minute on this one.
Okay, so in my classes, my writing class, we're talking a lot about human communication, different ways of communicating. So the way I kind of try to pitch it is that this is a new form of communication. It's a new type, an emerging type of communication. So there's written, spoken, visual, and now immersive forms of communicating ideas and information. So I like to kind of discuss it in that way, because as the world continues to change and as technology changes so rapidly, I think it's really important to cultivate flexible mindsets of curiosity, because those are really core transferable traits that people have. So this idea of the transfer of learning, transfer of habits. So I think curiosity, creativity, and an open mind to the future. And I think the exploration of virtual reality really helps with those skills. Again, my goal is to help students no matter which career path they go down. So it's multidisciplinary. So I think that's one of the big takeaways of what my experience is and what direction I see it going in the future, is the cultivation of really key transferable habits and traits that they can take with them long term. Lifelong learners. That's really what I want to cultivate in students, is lifelong learners, and I think this technology really can play a significant role in that.
As I mentioned before, so we are preparing the workforce for the future of that is the new generation. The question I get from people that I know and that I tell them that I'm a professor, it's like, are you preparing those students for the future jobs that we are expecting to have based on the technology, right? And I also have read articles that employers kind of are questioning, so are the students or are the future workforce or be ready for the technology? Because so same way as that, so it's moving very fast, right? We have heard about how the jobs are going to kind of disappear because of automation. It's going to be replaced by automation. And not too scary, because they say if this is going to happen, it's going to happen very slowly, not just like that, very quickly. But in my mind, it's that technical skills are going to be there. So we all are going to still need those. What we want to do through the technology, it's more the technology-based solution. So this is the best that technology is going to serve to the students. So when we implement it and we use it, and you guys are going to have a chance, because very soon, I told to my students to write down in the resume, so you already have a virtual reality experience, because employers see that and they say, oh, that's good, so it's almost there, right? Okay.
Thank you. Again, like both James and Ulbana mentioned about that, I think the greater idea about these students is the engagement and creating interest and also be more focused. Like when you're preparing yourself, you showing this the videos and creating them interest, and they can also build up like a virtual interview. They can do a virtual leadership. They can do a virtual speech practices. So these are all things, if you're going to some specific type of a work, so you can feel like a reality into do a virtual experience into that specific field. So when you be working into some place, you do not have any specific phobia about this thing, because you can think yourself already being there, and you can practice these skills where you've been going to be practiced at your workplace. So I think it's a great achievement for the students to be more engaged, more creative, and be more focused about their work.
So as a virtual reality commerce is the new emerging term, like a e-commerce and the I-commerce. So the new commerce is going to be virtual reality commerce, like you go online You in VR environment, you visit stores and you pay there and you buy stuff. And this is the future of business where many companies are already started investing. So if we are going towards VR commerce and if we are studying business, we must know what are its implications. So the technological competence of or comfort with this VR technology is going to be more and more important for the future jobs. But what excites me more is not the technological part. What excites me more is now than ever before, I can reward the skills of the students differently. I can reward the different behaviors. For years and years and years, education system rewarded only the people who are memorizing the facts and reproducing the facts. Leadership, what is leadership? You read it, you write it. Is it leadership? I can see you in a virtual network, virtual environment, playing game, and I can see the leader emerging. I can see your teamwork in the simulation right away. I can see you building resilience. So building resilience, building teamwork, passing through adversities. When you fail, how fast you get back and get running. These are the skills gonna be most important in future, and these are the skills that can be passed to the students through VR.
I think for our students, they're going to, if they do this in class, they're going to walk away or leave or graduate with the ability to be critical thinkers, creators, innovators, and visionaries. It's really that simple because when you look at VR, that's what it is poised to do. So remember that, guys. Critical thinking, innovation, creators, and visionaries. I think that's
Cool. And for me, the way I see that Berkeley itself, well, how this technology would offer to dynamic learning for students is that kind of like what he mentioned, it teaches us dynamic skills that you really can only learn by doing. For example, public speaking, we're all here public speaking, so I see it fits in. But obviously, it's a skill that you get by talking in front of people. Until you do that enough times, it's kind of like this kind of nervous train wreck of a scenario. However, if you can do it in a virtual reality kind of environment, you can practice speaking to a crowd without that pressure. So when you come to an actual moment where you're speaking to a bunch of people, it becomes normal because your brain is already subconsciously tied talking to a crowd before. But now in another aspect, at least with some degrees that we have, for example, interior design, graphic design, if VR is the future or augmented reality is the future, then that way we have to train these people to create content in those fields. And that's kind of what we're already pushing now. In fact, as I mentioned before, I was in a program and we actually shot and edited a 360 video that was a music video. And it was actually a really fun project. And in a way, I can now put that on my resume as I can produce VR content, which is something that companies are looking for now, especially in the creative fields, being able to be cutting edge in technology that we can produce and create.
Great. At this time, I think we're going to hold off on our last question for now and see if our audience, either here in New York City or virtually, has any questions for our panel. Yes, sir. Or ma'am. If we're aware of the virtual reality store on 34th. Has anybody checked that out from our panel? Very neat. No, that's great to know. We have a virtual reality store on 34th Street. Yes, sir.
Would there ever be a possibility of doing a virtual reality of a person incarcerated?
Is there the possibility of doing some kind of video about of incarceration in virtual reality?
You know, I did that.
Please.
With my,
Pass the mic down.
I had a video where I let the students go inside. Really, that was one of my videos. Oh my God. Oh, I let the students go. Not that I'm excited about going. Well, it was exciting. We went inside a prison and actually followed this inmate, and he had like sit down interviews, and he was talking about his journey. And I had a couple videos that went inside a prison, 360. You could see how they live. And then this one inmate was talking about how he would write his mother every day for a certain amount of years. And he's glad he did that because and he graduated from, I guess, college in prison. And before she died, that was her goal. And he was able to write her. And it was real touching. It was really emotional. I can't remember the specifics, but there's a ton of VR content that goes 360 inside of prisons, and it's a really good learning tool. My thing was trying to figure out how to tie it to business, but I was like, I don't care. This is a touching story, and so that's the thing, how to tie it to your discipline. But yeah, that is good to do.
Sky's the limit with the content. Really, anywhere you can take a traditional camera, they now have these 360 cameras that will record the same experiences. You can take that camera anywhere, do the same kind of media, journalism, television that you're seeing on TV, and produce that kind of content now in virtual reality. So anything you can think of is possible. It's just a matter of somebody doing it. Please.
So yes, in my courses, in my Foundations of Critical Writing course, there is a VR experience that several of my students have had, and it's called Step to the Line, and it is and this is really excellent for justice studies, criminal justice students, where it does go into a prison, and it addresses a entrepreneurship program in the walls of a prison where people that are incarcerated are given training in job skills and entrepreneurial skills, and it gives you a really good glimpse of this program, and it brings you into the walls of this prison. And a lot of the students that study criminal justice seem to really gravitate towards that particular VR experience. It is called Step to the Line. It's a very powerful, moving experience about this program that has been developed for prisoners that are looking to develop skills so that when they get out of prison that they have a certain skill set that they can then use going forward.
Thank you.
That speaks to that question.
Do we have anything from?
So this question is from Newark. The question is, how long do you think it will be before Berkeley College adopts VR into all classes?
This is from the Newark campus, this question. How long before we think virtual reality is going to be adopted into Berkeley College across the curriculum?
So we actually, since the last semester in winter 2018 we started, at least us, every class we have done that, at least once for every class that we teach, I guess everybody, right? So we are we just expecting for more, and we build up a lot of contents from ourselves, not just what we taught, and we had publish them in the library side, so for other professors as well to use. So it's going to be pretty soon, right?
Oh, I'm gonna let someone else speak to that as well, but we are a long way off for full adoption across the college. We have our faculty champions here. We have a small group of faculty who are spearheading these efforts for the college, and the hope is, based on the efforts of our faculty champions here, other faculty will adopt this and start integrating it into their curriculum. Full adoption may or may not ever happen. It really depends on specific disciplines and where that content's being developed. And this is such a young technology. It's only been a couple of years since it's become accessible through devices like this. These high-end headsets that cost thousands of dollars have been around for a while, but it's now becoming more and more mainstream and available. And we have content producers like Hansel who are now developing content that can be used in an educational capacity. So we're a long way off from full adoption, but once again, it's thanks to faculty that are taking the initiative and innovating currently in their classrooms that's going to drive this for Berkeley. Please, anybody else want to?
Yeah, I just want to say that, regarding this question, in healthcare, we're already using in a majority of campuses. But if someone want to use it in terms of instructors or anybody else, I know I'm in New York, but there are instructors who are being available if somebody needs help to implement these things. That we have resources, I believe, in every campus, right?
Yes, good point. Every campus library.
So if someone is interested and they need help, we are here to help any other faculty who did not use it. So they most welcome a student or any faculty, we will be able to help them.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, I want to mention every campus library has these Google Cardboard headsets available to loan to students or faculty who are interested in experimenting. All you have to do is go by your library and borrow one, and you can use your own smartphone download a variety of virtual reality apps for free via your app store, and you can try this out on your own. So don't hesitate to stop by and talk to your librarian. Yes, sir, another question. Wow. Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, for our virtual audience who couldn't hear, I'm not going to be able to recap that whole story, but Professor Ackerman was telling us about a flight simulation for pilots that allows them to go through that simulation of what it's like to fly and various things that might come up while they're flying through the air. That's really amazing. It's really amazing. Yes, ma'am.
To get used to these hands-on this kind of virtual reality.
Thank you. That's a great comment. Yes, about our preparing us for future based on our world becoming more and more virtual and social media and the need to be interacting with others in this virtual environment. Great point. Great point. Any others from our?
So we have an online question. You spoke about the device. Where can you find the content?
I spoke about the device. Where can you find the content? I'm going to let some of our panelists answer this, but yeah, let's start with our panelists. Please, anybody?
I like, if you go to YouTube, they have a whole channel. It's called Virtual Reality, I think. VR, right on YouTube. 360. Yeah, VR Tube 360. You could do that like from your phone. So I like YouTube because it's real world stuff and it's real good content. So I do like YouTube, and there's some other platforms, but YouTube is really good.
So in addition to YouTube, I think the collection that we prepared, everything we experimented and we thought we like it. Matthew has put this collection available in the library.
There's a LibGuide available online with this information.
So I think it is a LibGuide that and we have tried about maybe more than all of us tried 5. Yeah, so we tried New York Times and we tried so we one of my favorite is of course the YouTube 360 because it's the most flexible, but the content quality is much better in New York Times or some other website.
There's also there's the New York Times VR app, and there is also another app that has some really good content called Within. Within is also that's where I've gotten a lot of my content from, those two apps: the New York Times VR app and Within is the second app.
Absolutely. Along with the apps our panelists just mentioned, I'd recommend Jaunt, J-A-U-N-T VR, also Discovery VR. Honestly, pull out your phone, go to your app store and type in VR, type in virtual reality, type in 360. You're going to find thousands of applications that are available to you for free outside the ones we've explored. It goes much further than education into a lot of different entertainment and games available for free for you. So just go on your phone and check it out.
Yeah,
CNBC VR, absolutely. Any other questions?
We have an online question.
Please.
In particular with the classes, what happens if you're in a class that's using virtual reality and you don't want to use it?
So what happens if you're in a class that's using virtual reality and you don't want to participate?
First of all, you have no choice, okay, because I'm the professor and this is the assignment I'm giving you. But the way I do it is I attach it to points. So it's either you get a 0 or you get points. So somebody nicer.
Yeah. I was different in the sense like we had option of watching the video on the computer on the regular video versus the VR experience. But interesting part is when I ask like, hey, if you don't want to do, it's okay. Everyone wanted to do. So it is like so far, like my class was small, so I did not face, I did not come across a student who did not wanted to at least give it a try. Like if they give it a try and they don't enjoy it, they can always take it off. Like I don't want to force something, but the whole idea is to be immersed. So I always give option, like it's faculty's choice. Like I mostly give option to watch either way the student like.
Now, let me add one other thing. I'm not that mean, but I did let someone sit out because the Google Cardboard and their glasses wasn't coordinating. It wasn't working. So I did allow them to sit that one out because there are times where the glasses, your glasses don't fit. So I'm not going to violate anyone's rights that way. I don't want you guys to, tell on me, but it is an assignment, so.
So now I can't really say in terms of anything in regarding consequences because I'm not an instructor. As mentioned before, I'm just a content creator. However, something to keep in mind on the IT side of things is that there actually are alternatives. So with virtual reality, there are, headset-based programs, which most of them are. But a lot of times, like with YouTube VR or any 360 video, you don't have to wear it on your face. You can take it off and you can just use it as if it is just a video. So there's always because, for example, virtual reality has a problem that it can incur motion sickness, especially if it's a moving video and you're not moving. Your brain sees movement but doesn't feel movement, so it translates that as you're being poisoned. You actually get nauseous. It's kind of weird.